In this video, we are going to show you how to set up the Automation Anywhere credentials, the Hub credentials, and the Automation Anywhere user credentials. Start off by double-clicking on the Welcome Setup icon on your desktop. This brings up the Welcome Password Setup, which is a one-time setup as displayed on the interface. It already gives you the username, which is administrator, and then you can give the password. Following this, give the administrator email ID and email address. Next, we are going to set up the Automation Anywhere client password. The client by default is Oscar. Give the client a password and email address, just as in the administrator account. Finally, we are going to set up the Hub password. Input and confirm the password, click Next, and setup is now complete. If you click Welcome Setup again, a dialog box will pop up showing that the setup is already done. Now, we are going to learn how to log into the Automation Anywhere Enterprise client and configure Oscar's email settings so that when some automation is being done by Oscar, it can send emails out. This process begins by clicking on the Automation Anywhere Enterprise client. Once it opens up, we will enter our credentials for Oscar, which is what we configured earlier in this video. Now, the URL to the control room is already pre-configured, so we will leave domain empty and use the user credentials as we have already set up. Click Login after inputting your information. Once the client comes up, the next step is to configure the email settings. And to do that, we are going to go to Tools, then Options. Click on Email Settings. Here you need to make sure that you are going to configure this for your email gateway. This is already pre-configured for us. Now, after reaching Email Settings, put in your SMTP host, the port it is going to, and if you are using SSL/TLS or your server requires authentication, as most do, then check the two boxes. Next, put in your username and password. Click Apply, then OK. The next step in the process is to configure the email trigger. This trigger belongs to Oscar, and when an email arrives in the inbox, it will trigger Oscar to go retrieve that attachment from the invoice or multiple attachments. This video corresponds to the Getting Started Guide section 5.2.2. Now, we are going to go to AP_invoice_AWS. And then we are going to select Invoice Creator Master.atmx. The next step is to click on Trigger. Here, you want to make sure that your trigger type is an email message and the action is when new email arrives. This is by default already configured. You want either an IMAP or POP3, then give it the IMAP address and the port. 993 would be SSL. Next, configure the frequency with which you want to poll. The lowest is 1 minute, and this is what is configured here. Then put in your username and password, and then save. Then you can see that it pops up in this highlighted box. Make sure the box is checked off, and you will be all set.